the CSI Baseball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet welcomes you into NCAA Division II baseball coverage on the ECC network. In today's non-conference matchup, the College of Staten Island Dolphins host the Dominican University Chargers. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, alongside my broadcast partner, Nick Bavona. And Nick, the Dolphins are looking to bounce back from a pair of losses earlier in the week on Wednesday against Goldie Beacom College, and they send their ace, Ryan Kehoe, to the mound, looking to score a big win. As we welcome you in to a very abbreviated McDonald's pregame show, we're about to get underway a bit early.
Yeah, I mean, at least we got a little bit of a pregame show for this game. And you mentioned Ryan Kehoe is getting the start today for the Dolphins. He pitched the last time the Dolphins came out on a Friday, just about a week ago, over against Caldwell at Staten Island University Hospital Community Park. And in that game, Ryan Kehoe was pretty much dominant all the way through for the Dolphins. Unfortunately for the Dolphins in that game, once the bullpen came in for the Dolphins, that's what really did them in. Kehoe had a 7-1 lead going into the sixth inning, allowed 2 runs in that sixth. The Dolphins would still have a 7-3 lead going into the bottom of the sixth inning, but then the disaster hit for the Dolphins as the later innings came in. 4 runs in the eighth, a go-ahead home run in the ninth inning. The Dolphins lost that game 8-7. They're hoping Kehoe gets them another strong start today because his last 2 starts have been pretty solid.
And we'll get you Kehoe's numbers on the season right here. Ryan comes in with an ERA of 5.06 across 3 appearances and 3 starts. In 16 innings, he's allowed 11 hits, 9 runs, all of those earned. He's walked 10 and struck out 23. Opposing batters hitting just 193 against him.
And the Dolphins are hoping that he can give them a spark for this game today. Obviously, on Wednesday, things did not go the Dolphins' way in terms of both sides of the plate. Obviously, their pitching wasn't really what they were hoping for in those 2 games against the Lightning. And then the offense, unfortunately, Joe, that was another thing that cost the Dolphins in that game. Game 1, we saw they were down 8-1. They made it 8-3, had first and second, nobody out after getting a 2-run single. Then they would have a double play ball and a strikeout to end the inning. And then in Game 2 against the Lightning, down 7-0 early on, got 4 runs unanswered to make it 7-4, but unfortunately the game got away from them. They would be outscored the rest of the way 6-1 and lose that second game 13-5.
And as I said earlier in the week, Nick, in those games against the Lightning, the Dolphins did not send any of their top 3 starters to the mound, and they did lose both games. Obviously, you never want to drop 2 games in a doubleheader, but if the Dolphins were to drop 2 games again today, that would be highly concerning. Obviously, earlier in the week, you hate to lose both, but it's not a huge concern to lose both of those games to a Goldie Beacom team that came in and played very well. They swung the bats very well. As we wrap up the McDonald's pregame show, and we're set to get underway from the College of Staten Island, I'll get you the Dolphins' defensive alignment very quickly ahead of first pitch. At first base, A.J. Vigliotti. At second base, Anthony Cetera. At shortstop, Nicholas Rodriguez. At third base, Vincent Weigel. In left field, Brian Burkhead. In center field, Chris Polomini. In right field, Michael Palermo. Behind the plate, Michael Kehoe. And on the mound, Ryan Kehoe. As his first pitch is bounced to second. Easy play to get things started for Cetera, and there's quickly 1 away in the first inning.
Can't ask for anything better right there for Ryan. 1 pitch, 1 out to start this game. Get the first out of this one.
First pitch of the game sees David Nepper retired on a bounce out to second. And that will bring up Tyler Richmond. Kehoe comes set and delivers his first pitch to Richmond. That's taken on the outside corner for a called strike 1. Richmond on the season comes in hitting at .268 with an on-base percentage of .348, slugging at .341. 11 hits and 41 at-bats for him. That's fouled away. Now, that's one of those rare foul balls that reach the second row.
Don't say that. You know where I'm parked, Joe. Why would you say that?
You're parked at the end of the second row.
I
You
know,
parked
but
far, far away. There's not going to be a foul ball there.
If it happens, Joe, I'm going to look right at you.
Jinx Prime.
Yeah, that's why I'm worried about what you just said.
And that's it out to shallow right field. Waiting for it to make the catch is Palermo, and there are quickly 2 gone.
It's a good start to this game for Ryan Kehoe, getting 2 quick outs to start the inning. Now 1 out away from 1-2-3 first.
Ty Gilligan will be the batter. And Gilligan takes high for ball 1. Gilligan comes in with the second most plate appearances on this Chargers team, 42. He's hitting .286. 8 RBIs. He's drawn 5 walks and struck out 8 times. On base percentage of .362. Slugging at .381. As he gets ahead here, 2-0. That's fouled straight back. Now, I do have my window open today, Nick.
I do too.
I might have to reconsider.
I'm ready in case if I have to catch something. Not to my ribs, though.
Well, the laptops are protecting our ribs. Unfortunately, that's not how you'd like things set up. As that swung on and missed for strike 2. So Kehoe works his way back from a 2-0 count and now has a 2-2 count on the Chargers' third place hitter, looking for a 1-2-3 first inning. It's fouled away again.
Anytime there's a foul ball hit to the press box, we start to get a little bit worried. Just a tiny bit.
I think we'll probably close the window a bit during the break between innings.
Definitely
Comes another 2-2.
Definitely will leave it open. Nice little breeze today.
That's taken high. Full count now on Richmond. Check that, Gilligan. Here comes the 3-2. And that's in for a called strike 3. Gilligan appeared set to toss the bat back to his dugout. Instead, he will head back after a 1-2-3 first inning for Ryan Kehoe. No score, headed to the home first. And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex, where we have no score, entering the bottom half of the first inning. On the mound in this one for the Chargers, Anthony Leak, and we'll get you his numbers in just a moment. Leak on the season comes in having appeared in 3 games, all starts, in 15 2/3. He's allowed 16 hits, 14 runs, only 8 of those earned. He's pitched to a 4.6 ERA. In the field behind him for the Chargers at first base, Jake Chasengram. At second base, Ryan Bongiorno. At shortstop, David Nepper. At third base, Gene Nunez. In left field, Tyler Richmond. In center field, Davin Cadell Tuckey. In right field, Andrew Smith. And behind the plate, Ty Gilligan. Dolphins lineup he will face is as follows. Leading off, Michael Kehoe, followed by Brian Burkhead, Chris Polomini, AJ Vigliotti, Thomas Martin, Anthony Cetera, Vincent Weigel, Michael Palermo, and Nicholas Rodriguez.
Obviously, both teams show looking to end their losing streaks here today. The Chargers on a 4-game skid right now. The Dolphins on a 3-game losing streak. So something has to give here today.
Michael Kehoe looks at the first pitch he sees, down and away for ball 1. Kehoe comes in hitting at .263 on the season. He started all 11 games for the Dolphins, one of 4 Dolphins to start all 11, one of 5 Dolphins to play in all 11. Someone's dialing the booth, Nick.
Hopefully not dialing for something to happen towards the parking lot.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not.
That's hit toward the right center field gap, but Kehoe got under it. And that ball trails out towards right. We're waiting to make the catch with Smith for out number 1.
The left fielder, number 23, Ryan
You can hear that echo,
yeah,
Nick.
You can definitely hear it. Burkhead batting second once again for the Dolphins here today, Joe. He's made some good improvements the last couple weeks.
At the plate here, Brian Burkhead behind 0-1. As henceforth, Nico Rodriguez is the Dolphins shortstop, wearing number 2 today.
So say Nico now.
That's what we were just told.
Okay.
It does say that on his walk-up. Obviously, it does not say that on the roster.
Right. Okay.
But now we know. Count 1-2 on Burkhead. Dolphins left fielder comes into this game hitting at .259. Slugging at .444. 7 runs batted in, tied for the team lead. That's hit hard on the ground through the left side for a base hit. And Burkhead is on with a 1-out single.
Well, you mentioned that slugging percentage, but Burkhead just these last couple weeks, Joe, has really been good for CSI in terms of what he has brought, not only to his batting, but also in the field defensively. A nice 1-out single right there through that gap between the shortstop and third baseman.
Once again, Nick, the internet just not cooperating with our live stats from up here in the press box. Hopefully that corrects our issue. The batters, once again, not changing.
The last look at the previous hit from Brian Burkhead. Right through the defensive alignment shift between the shortstop and third baseman.
And they definitely had Burkhead played to pull there. And that played a role in that base hit getting through. As Chris Polamini fouls that one back. Polamini comes in, the Dolphins' second leading hitter. Just a fraction of a percentage behind Nico Rodriguez. Polamini, another Dolphin who started all 11 games. Tied for the team lead in at-bats with Michael Kehoe at 38. He has 14 hits, including a triple and a home run, 7 runs batted in. Tied with Palermo and Burkhead for the team lead. And a team leading .500 slugging percentage. So good numbers for Polamini in his first season with the Dolphins.
You can get something down that third base line, Joe. Very sizable gap in the left fielder.
That's chopped foul. And the count remains 1-2. Taking a look toward the Charger outfield, at least following that foul ball, as right now it looks like Smith and Wright is moving back toward a more traditional position, but they were really compact towards center field. There goes Burkhead, and that throw sails into the outfield. Burkhead will stay put, as that throw had so much on it that Burkhead couldn't think about third base.
Now an RBI opportunity coming up here for the Dolphins, Joe. Polamini now a single away from bringing home Burkhead at second.
These two teams did meet last season. Dolphins won both of those games. Compared to what we've seen the last couple of games, last year's meeting between these two teams, a relatively low-scoring doubleheader. Pitch on its way, and that's swung on and missed for strike 3.
Got him to chase on a high fastball right there. Huge second out for the Chargers. It'll be up to A.J. Vigliotti to try and bring home that first Dolphin run.
It will be left to A.J. Vigliotti. Vigliotti hitting at .250 on the year, has also started all 11 games for the Dolphins. A.J. with a couple of doubles and a home run in terms of extra base hits. He takes on the outside corner for a called strike.
And we know Vigliotti is certainly capable of hitting the ball the other way, and he's got a good opportunity towards right field if he's able to get an opposite field hit, potentially bring home Burkhead from second.
The 0-1 pitch on its way. That's a nice stop behind the plate by Gilligan there. That breaking ball swept into the other batter's box. And it looks like Leak is asking for a new baseball.
So a couple of baseballs under the bleachers and around the complex here today. I had to return them to the baseball team. So yeah, now I have extra baseballs for the game.
Job well done by our crew.
It's been a long week for the crew. We still have 2 more tomorrow.
Count 1 ball and 1 strike. And Vigliotti takes outside. The good news for us is that tomorrow we don't have to set up again.
Right.
Be right back here at the press box so we can leave everything out, just lock up, and we'll be good to go tomorrow. Dolphins will host Chestnut Hill College for 2 more here at the CSI Baseball Complex as Vigliotti takes ball 3.
You see so far every pitch in this at bat, Joe, has been on the outside corner. They're not giving Vigliotti anything inside for him to try to get over the third baseman. So they're trying to get him to force something towards the first base bag.
Comes the 3-1. That's hit the other way, Nick. You said it. And a great running grab is made in right field by Smith. He took a hit away from A.J. Vigliotti. Maybe there's a reason he was offset to the left just a bit as Smith runs it down in right field to deny the Dolphins in the home first inning. No score after 1 at the CSI Baseball Complex. Chi Aesthetics Med Spa and Wellness Center. Our approach to beauty and wellness begins with a holistic plan tailored to the unique needs of our patients. When we consult with patients, we let them tell us what their problem is. We don't tell them what the issue is. We find out what they're looking for, and we discuss, and then we give them options. If you're looking to achieve radiant skin, you've come to the right place. We offer hydrofacials, microneedling, Opus Plasma, peels, facial and laser treatments, laser hair removal, body sculpting, fat freezing, hormone replacement therapy, Botox, IV drip therapy, and more. We are open Monday through Saturday and are located at 720 Forest Avenue, Staten Island, New York, 10310. We hope to see you soon. Visit our website at www.chiaesthetics.com for more information. And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex where Andrew Smith robbed A.J. Vigliotti of a run-scoring base hit. We'll get a second look on replay.
And I mentioned in the at-bat, A.J. Vigliotti has that opposite field power to get a base hit down the right field line, but that was just a great play by Smith at the end. He kind of gets off of camera at the end. You don't see it, but he extends his glove as he's getting off of the camera view. But nonetheless, a great play from him right there, saving a run and keeping this game scoreless coming into the second.
Can't overlook defense here at the CSI Baseball Complex. Big expanse in this outfield. For the Chargers, it will be 4, 5, and 6 due up in the road second inning against Ryan Kehoe. Davin Cadell-Tucky will lead off. He chops one to first. Vigliotti on the backhand flips to Kehoe, but no play at first. And it's an infield hit for Cadell-Tucky.
Almost a scary sight with Kehoe slipping off of the bag as he made the tag on the base. But good to see that he's back up standing and heading to the mound.
And those are always plays where you have to hold your breath for a moment. There's the potential of a collision at first. If a runner's going hard down the line, you can have a situation where he steps on the pitcher's foot. It's just never a good situation when a slow bouncer is hit to the first baseman and he has to flip to the pitcher. It's a tough play. And the Chargers reap the benefits of a leadoff single as that's ripped into left field for another hit. Joseph Torres lines one into left field. Throw goes to third. The runner is in safely. And Torres will advance to second behind that throw.
That's going to go down as a single and an error on the play for Burkhead in left field. That's a brutal break for the Dolphins now, Joe. Second and third, nobody out now in the inning.
Well, that is not something that the Dolphins like to see early in this game. Opportunity to take the lead goes by the wayside, and now an error puts 2 in scoring position with nobody out.
And That will force the corner infielders for the Dolphins to move in and check the runner at third and make sure he doesn't score.
Well, the hero of the last half inning, Andrew Smith, is at the plate here. Big opportunity for him. And that's chopped on the ground again, this time to second, handled by Cetera. The run does come in to score as Cadell Tuckey steps on the plate for the first Dominican run. It's an RBI ground out for Andrew Smith. And the Chargers lead the Dolphins 1-0.
Smith hit that in the perfect spot for that run to come into third. With the middle infielders back playing defensive normally, they had no really play at home. Throw to first base was in time. First run of the game comes in for the Chargers. Sal's grounded Vigliotti. He's going to home plate. Did they get him out? They did, Joe. Great heads-up play from A.J. Vigliotti.
And that's a good decision by the Dolphins' first baseman right there. You can't underestimate the importance of making that decision quickly, and we're going to get a great look at it on our outfield camera as we'll get a quick look at the replay after this.
I'll bring it up right now. You see Vigliotti immediately goes to home. No hesitation on the play. That's a heads-up play by your first baseman in that spot, preserving another run from coming in, and it's now 2 away in the inning. So 2 away in the inning now, a runner on first. Batter to play is Gene Nunez for the Chargers right here as Keogh will throw it back to first to check the runner. So if Keogh can get this out right here and escape this damage with only giving up the run, Dolphins certainly will take that as there's a strike. Keogh checks again at first base. Runner back in safely.
Had to attend some official scoring, Nick. Right now, the run that has come home in this inning is unearned. The runners should not have been on second and third. They should have been on first and second. So Kehoe has a chance to escape this without allowing an earned run, though. That's not much consolation for the Dolphins, who now trail 1-0. That being said, that was a big out they got at the plate on the throw from Vigliotti. And with 2 away in the inning, Ryan Kehoe is 1 strike away from limiting the damage to just 1 run.
And I said if he can limit that damage to just the 1 run, the Dolphins certainly will take that in this inning, considering the circumstances that they had where it was second and third, nobody out.
I think they'll certainly be happy if they can escape the inning, allowing just the 1 run. No doubt about it. They'll check on the runner over at first. Chase and Graham reached on the fielder's choice. That saw Vigliotti come home and cut down the runner trying to score.
A rare 3-2 putout.
And the run is earned now as Gene Nunez lines one up the middle for a base hit. Throw goes to third. And sliding in safely is Chase and Graham.
So 2 out hit right there for the Chargers extends the inning here and gives them now another RBI opportunity. First and third, 2 away. To try to extend their lead to 2.
That will bring up Ryan Bongiorno. First at bat of the day for the Chargers' 9th place hitter. Dominican with runners on the corners and 2 outs. As that's taken in the dirt for ball 1. The Chargers have hit a couple of balls really hard in this half inning. Were it not for a great decision by Vigliotti and a good throw, this inning could look very different. On top of that, the play at the plate was very close.
Just by a couple of inches, but you mentioned it. Vigliotti, and I mentioned it also as well, he had no hesitation on that play. Immediately picked up the ball, threw it to home plate, and that's a great heads-up play by your first baseman. That's why you had the corner infielders in on a certain situation like that.
That one's hit in the air foul. Count 1 ball and 1 strike on the Chargers' second baseman. And that one's ripped over the glove of Rodriguez and into left center field for a base hit. Runner trying to go first to third is out by a mile. And that was not a good decision by Nunez as he's easily tagged out. And the inning is over. But not before the Chargers strike for 2 runs in the top half of the second. They lead the Dolphins 2-0.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we're back from the College of Staten Island, where the Chargers now lead the Dolphins 2-0, entering the home half of the second inning. 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Dolphins. Martin, Cetera, and Weigel.
Especially after that last half inning went for the Chargers offensively. That play in right field from Smith now even looming more largely for the Dolphins.
That's hit toward the hole on the left side by Martin. Long throw across the diamond in time.
No, it's not in time, Joe. Dropped by the first baseman.
Wow, ball got away. Well, it was in time, so I technically was not wrong.
You were not wrong.
Ball trickled away at the last second. And Martin is on. So that's going to be an E3D on that, Stephanie.
I'll show a replay of that in just a moment after this first pitch.
Pitch on its way to Anthony Cetera. That's in the dirt for ball 1.
You see Martin hit that one deep in the hole at short. Throw was certainly in time.
No
just
question.
Not handle at first base. So the Dolphins take advantage of the error right there.
If the throw had been offline, you could have made the case that Martin would be credited with an infield hit, because that was deep in the hole. Not an easy play, but once the throw is made, that's an out you have to assume. 2-0 the count now on Anthony Cetera.
It was Martin.
That sliced foul. Cetera comes in hitting at .292. 7 hits and 24 at-bats, a couple of doubles, 3 RBIs. Dolphins this year, in terms of stolen bases, 12 for 17. Opponents 24 of 35. So that's a bit of cause for concern right there. Double the attempts, double the successful tries for the opposition as Cetera looks at a called strike.
So now a 2-2 count here for Cetera with Martin on first. Dolphins trying to trim into this deficit, down by 2.
Leak comes set and delivers. That's it out to center. Martin halfway between first and second will head back as the catch is made in center field for the first out.
So second time with that bat, we saw the Dolphins going with a hit and run. But not much on that swing from Cetera with a shallow fly ball hit to center. Now bringing up the Dolphin third baseman, Vincent Weigel.
Weigel's off to a tough start. He had a very good season last year. So far, just 2 of 27 this year. And You have to think, given what we saw last year, he's primed to turn it around. Leak checks over on Martin at first. And Weigel takes a strike.
For Weigel, he just needs a confidence swing. Once you get started getting going where you get one hit and then keep it going on a hitting streak kind of for him, that's where your confidence gets back for a hitter that's in a little bit of a slump like this. But still very early on in the season, Joe, so still a lot of time for Weigel to get his numbers up.
I often say that you can toss the numbers from very early in the season. Dramatic shift in weather as Martin is running. High throw again. In time as the tag was applied. Nicely done there, applying the tag. I believe it was the shortstop covering. Though, Nick, you can correct me on the replay.
It was second baseman.
Second baseman came in, shortstop backed up. Great job by Bongiorno.
That was another one, Joe, where the Dolphins were going for a hit and run. Weigel was not able to make contact with the ball, leading to that caught steal at second base.
Also, the infield for the Chargers shifted dramatically to the left on Weigel as he looks at a called strike 3. So Leak faces the minimum here in the home second inning as the Dolphins do get the benefit of a Chargers error, but nothing more as Martin is caught stealing and the side is retired. Dominican leading Staten Island 2-0 after 2.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Road third inning getting started from the CSI Baseball Complex. The Chargers will look to add to a 2-run lead. At the plate here, David Nepper, he's 0 for 1. It was a very good first inning for Ryan Kehoe. Set the Chargers down quickly, but Nick in the second, Dominican swung the bats really well. They hit the ball hard.
And that's really, for the Dolphins, a concern. Also, we saw an error in the inning that cost them a run, but if the Dolphins can get a nice solid inning from him here, the other thing for the Dolphins is they need their bats to wake up so far in this game. Obviously, just the one hit in this game. They reached an error in the last inning, but still early. But CSI really could use the bats to come alive here early on in this game.
The other day against Goldie Beacom, Dolphins had a couple of good innings, but outside of that, didn't really hit much. We saw yesterday over at the softball diamond, the Dolphins overall out-hit their opponent yesterday, Georgian Court, 14-12 across 2 games. But they lost both games by 2 runs, almost strictly as a result of 2 big innings. And some timely hitting. I always talk about your ability to hit with runners on base in high-pressure situations, as well as your ability to pitch in those situations. And I think yesterday we saw the impact of that versus just collecting a bunch of hits.
And that's unfortunate for the Dolphins, too, because you saw in that game, and at least in both games, the Dolphins had some great innings and just couldn't bring those runners home. And by the time they did, as there's the striker from Keogh, but by the time that last inning came for game number 2, where Latour hit that 3-run homer, the Dolphins were already down 5 runs. And that's where you need to hit early on in the stages of those games to make sure you don't have a deficit like that, and that home run can mean something for you.
And a perfect example of why 2-out hitting is so important with runners on base. The Dolphins were only trailing 3-1 in that game, and they had that 3-1 deficit. I believe it was entering the 5th inning. And in the top of the 5th inning with 2 outs, the Lions put together a rally. They scored twice. That inning, all the difference. Without those 2 big 2-out runs, Dolphins tied on that home run. As that pitch is chopped toward the middle, Rodriguez will get there, but he couldn't play the bounce. And that's going to be a base hit for Tyler Richmond.
I think even if Rodriguez had made the scoop, that would have been a close play at first base, but I think the runner would have reached safely.
No question. 5 hits in the game now for the Chargers. That will bring up Ty Gilligan. Gilligan 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And he takes down and away for ball 1.
Gil would certainly love a double play ball here, Joe, to get himself out of this inning.
Good news for Kehoe, though we don't have his official pitch count on the live stats, is that his pitch count is still relatively low. We have him between probably 35 and 40 pitches. Scoring decisions sometimes take our attention away from the pitch by pitch, but I'd put him between 35 and 40 right now. Here comes the 2-0. That's outside for ball 3.
In that game against Caldwell, his last start, we saw in which he realistically had just one bad inning, that 2-run 6th inning, and that's where the pitch count, most of it came in from. And you see that sometimes when Keogh starts, he just realistically has one bad inning when it comes to throwing a lot of pitches. The Dolphins are hoping that 2nd inning is the only case.
I think for many pitchers, the story of a given start comes down to how much do they allow in that one bad inning? How effectively can they stop the bleeding? 2 runs come home. Do you let that snowball as that ball's hit well deep to right field? And that will land on the warning track. It one-hops the fence. Having to hold it first to make sure that ball got down was Richmond, so he will stop at 3rd. And it's a 1-out double for Ty Gilligan. Nick, he hit that one fairly close to our camera, making a home run bid.
Yeah, that was pretty. I'm going to see where on our right field camera that was. It looks like it's a little bit off to the right of it, but a well-placed hit ball from Gilligan. And now 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. 2nd straight inning, Joe. The Dolphins will have that 2nd and 3rd situation, and you see the infield. They are certainly all the way in.
That's chopped foul. With first base empty, it makes sense to bring the infield in all around. On the other side of that coin, if a ground ball is hit toward the middle that you would have otherwise played with the infield back, it could cost you an additional run. But the Dolphins electing to try and keep this game right where it is, down 2-0, and I can't argue with that. That's taken outside now. Goes without saying, you cannot allow a run to score here on a wild pitch. That was awfully close.
That was very, very close. Good job by Michael Keogh to make that catch and preserve the wild pitch from happening.
Count 1-1. Davin Cadell Tucky at the plate. He slices one foul. Cadell Tucky in this game is 1 for 1. Got things started for Dominican in the 2nd inning.
Keogh strike away now, Joe, from an all-important 2nd out in this inning.
It's a big pitch here. Ahead 1-2. And that's lined to left center field. It's down for a base hit. 1 run in to score. 2 runs will score. It gets by in center field as Polomini tried to come up throwing. And that will afford an extra base to Cadell Tucky. It's a 2 RBI single for the Chargers center fielder. And Dominican has doubled their lead. They're in front, 4-0.
And Dominican, once again, Joe, just putting good bat on the ball right now so far early in this game. Another big base hit, and one in which it went into shallow left center field. Realistically, no play. I think even if Polomini didn't feel that correctly, the runner at second certainly would have scored,
Yes,
but
I agree.
it did allow the runner to go from first to second on that play.
So that's going to be a hit for the Chargers and an error on the Dolphins. And for CSI, that will be their second error of the game. Right now, a discussion going on at the plate. The umpires were also conversing on the infield. Looks like it's an issue of time. I think Dominican may have been charged with a timeout for getting some gear out to the base runner over at second, but I'm speculating there.
Joe, that did not make a good sound.
That's a shattered windshield, no question. The question is, did that hit a parked car or the moving car that was making its way into the complex? That was not good.
That was definitely not good.
We'll go take a look in between innings. We actually never checked the other day.
He did it.
But I say it time and time again, you cannot park in the first two rows. And obviously, we don't want anybody to arrive back at their vehicle with a shattered windshield. But, boy,
Yeah.
that sounded very bad.
The two worst sounds you can hear are a strikeout from Keogh right there. The two worst sounds you can hear at the baseball complex. First, that loud sound after a foul ball is hit towards the parking lot, and then a groan from the home audience towards that parking lot, because then you know something's going on.
I have a third for that list that I'll share during the break.
Now, Joe, I don't know what happened with the camera, but that's our current view. It's all the way in the sky.
All right, looks like the camera may have been taken out by the wind. So we'll head back to the outfield in between innings. I'll get that resituated as Kehoe limits the damage to just 2. We'll take a quick break and get that camera situation sorted out. We'll be right back.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Back for the home third here at the CSI Baseball Complex as Joe Foreman goes to attend to our right field camera. So for now, I will be solo on the call as the Dolphins now trail this one 4-0. Dominican adding 2 more hits, or excuse me, 2 more runs in that previous half inning. Michael Palermo will lead it off here in the bottom of the third. So for now, we will go to our wide shot behind home plate here in the press box. As Palermo chops this one to second, going to be a tough play. Palermo running down the first base line. He's in there safely with a leadoff single. Bongiorno trying to make the play on that chopper to second base. But a great job by Palermo to go down the first base line and run that one out for an infield hit. I see Joe Foreman right now with the camera. I'm looking at the view. The camera here at our panel. Behind home plate is Nico Rodriguez. The Dolphins shortstop up to the plate, takes the first pitch, strike 0-1. Rodriguez coming into the season hitting .370 for the Dolphins. Takes that one in the dirt. Good scoop behind the plate from Gilligan. Gilligan keeps it from getting a wild pitch. Count goes to 1-1. See the defensive alignment for the Chargers right now. They're leaving a huge gap between the first and second baseman. So Rodriguez shows bunt. Goes foul. Count goes to 1-2. So Rodriguez down the count 1-2 with Palermo on first. Dolphin top of the order is coming out on deck. That one in the dirt. And Palermo will go into second safely without a wild pitch. Gilligan tried his best to keep that one in front of him. Took a wild bounce off the home plate. So Dolphins now will have a runner in scoring position here for Rodriguez. So a base hit into the outfield would bring home Palermo from second. 2-2. That one hit into right field, but foul. So we did look to see if there was any damage to one of the cars in the parking lot in between innings. Thankfully, it hit the top of a car. So doesn't seem to be any damage, but still have to be very careful when you park in that front row. You might want to move your car. As Rodriguez swings that one in the dirt for strike 3. No attempt to go at first base for him, so there's one away. Now I'll bring up the Dolphin catcher, number 8, Michael Kehoe. The runner on second and one away. Kehoe 0 for 1 so far in the day. Going to add to his RBI total on the season right here. It's a half swing, but call for a strike 0-1. Once I see Joe walk away from the right field camera, I will switch it back to our pitcher batter cam. The 0-1. This is high for a ball, 1-1. Dolphins trying to trim into this deficit, down 4-0 early on here in the third. The 1-1. Hit foul behind the plate, 1-2. Joe was starting to walk away from it, but I think with the wind today, that's going to play a factor into the camera. That's the reason why it looked like that as we went into our last commercial break. As Kehoe chases at that one on the outside corner for strike 3. Throw to first base is in time. Palermo does get into third base on the swing, so the Dolphins now will have the runner on third with 2 away. So a 2-3 putout on the strikeout there. Palermo now advances to third. And Brian Burkhead, who's responsible for one of the Dolphins' 2 hits in this game, will come up with a runner on and 2 away. Okay, looking to give CSI their first run of the game here. Just takes that one high for a ball, 1-0. Burkhead can extend the inning and bring up Chris Polomini on deck. The 1-0. That one just fouled behind the plate at 1-1. That one hit into right field down the first base line, but caught by the first baseman right there on the line drive. And that will retire the side. So the Dolphins will strand the runner on third base. here at the bottom of the third inning. We head now into the top of the fourth. Dominican leads this one 4-0. Top of the fourth inning here at the CSI Baseball Complex. Dominican hanging on to a 4-0 lead as they avoid the previous Dolphin half inning. The Dolphins got the runner on third base, but were not able to bring the runner home. It looks like our right field camera is good from here. Joe Foreman is on his way back to the press box, so he'll be joining me shortly. So that one ripped down the left field line. That's going to be an extra base hit. Burkhead will play that one bounce off the wall. And it's going to be a lead-off double to start the top of the fourth inning. It's Jake Chasengram. That's the 8th hit now of the game for the Chargers. Brings up Gene Nunez here. He'll have an RBI opportunity now. So runner on second, no one out. As Nunez takes the ball down low, 1-0. So I'm going to be joined by Joe Foreman in just a second. And Joe, I heard the conversation you just had did not sound good.
All right, so I arrived in right field, and our tripod had the leg snapped off.
That's not great.
The leg had snapped off. It was caught in the fence. Now, our setup, I thought, was a pretty ingenious one. Simple, but ingenious. The fence out in right field at the bottom is curling up off the grass. I'll detail more after this next pitch. As Kehoe looks towards second and delivers to Nunez. That's chopped to Vigliotti at first. He plays it off the bag on a hop, and that's a big play by Vigliotti to keep that on the infield. For now, that saves a run. There's one away, and Chasenkram advances to third. But as I was saying, Nick, the bottom of the fence out in right field, for those who don't know, there are two fences in right. The outfield fence and then a second fence behind the outfield wall. So that second fence is curling up at the bottom. We braced our tripod in that fence where it's curling up. So our camera tripod is very steady. Now, the wind was so strong that it snapped the leg of the tripod and ripped it free from the fence. So the back two legs were on the ground, and one leg was still on the fence but detached from the rest of our setup. Fortunately, no damage to our camera. It's all soft grass out there, but not a sight I like to see as that pitch is taken for a strike.
It was weird with the camera looking up towards the sky. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you lay down in the grass, you look up towards the sky and you kind of feel like dizzy at some points like that. That's kind of how I felt when I was looking at the camera as we switched over to our behind the plate cam.
There's a big swing and miss there by Ryan Bongiorno for strike three. And now Ryan Kehoe is 1 out away from escaping trouble. That being said, Nick, between the time that I left the booth and the time that I came back just a few seconds ago, the sky's gotten pretty dark out in left field, and the wind is beginning to pick up. So
papers are flying here in the press box.
things looking a bit ominous here at the CSI Baseball Complex.
Now, I think you said yesterday there was originally rain in the forecast, but then it went away. But the way the skies look right now, it's...
Yeah, we have rain on the way, Nick.
Okay.
We have rain on the way. At some point within the next hour, we have a very good chance of some rain. Hopefully that does not stop the game. As that splits Weigel and Rodriguez, it rolls into left. Burkhead bobbled, but he recovers and throws to second. So it's now 5-0 Chargers. And this game is beginning to slip away from the Dolphins here in the fourth inning. As Dominican continues to get good swings against Ryan Kehoe, they open the inning with a double, and then a couple of ground balls get that run in. At the plate here is Tyler Richmond. Richmond bats for the man on first, 2 outs. We know how resilient this Dolphins team is, Nick, but to play from behind time and time again makes it really tough on a ball club. That's ripped foul.
Yeah, I think the good thing for the Dolphins is obviously it's still the fourth, so there's still time to get back into this game. But now a 5-run deficit, it's not going to be an easy one for CSI to get back into this. We saw it over on Wednesday. Down 7 at one point in both games. They were able to trim the deficit, but they need to keep it a 5-run deficit here.
Kehoe comes set. Long look in ahead of this 0-1 pitch. That's in for a called strike 2. And they'll check on the runner at first. And Nepper slides back in safely.
Now the question is, Joe, for the rain that's coming up, potentially, how long is that going to last?
Not long.
Say? Okay.
Not long, according to the forecast.
I know you're something of a meteorologist yourself, but
I am.
I just need to clarify that.
That is true.
Okay.
I do have a third sound to add to the list that we can say on the air. Sound of thunder, never a good one at the ballpark. None of that yet.
It's not a motorcycle.
No. For those who don't know, and we told this story last year, but, well, I should say last year is in 2023, not
Right.
last baseball season. Nick and I, during the summer, covered the New York State Little League Baseball Championship for the PDF Sports Network, and we knew we had rain in the forecast. We were uncovered, no press box, calling the game from center field, and we heard the sound of what we believed, or I believed more specifically, was thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it was a motorcycle. As that ball is hit well out to left field, long run for Burkhead toward the line, foul ball. That one missing by just a few feet. That would have been a 6th Chargers run.
Especially considering where the ball was hit towards the Dolphin bullpen. Didn't really take much of a bounce after it fell down on the ground.
As we've said several times already during this week and during the lead-up to the start of baseball and softball, as that's chopped toward the middle, Satara will step on second and the inning is over. As we've said many times, it's going to be a very busy month of March, early April for us. We do get a 5-day reprieve following tomorrow's game. We're not on the air again after that until Friday of next week. So we'll talk more about the upcoming schedule when we return from this break, headed to the home fourth. The Dolphins trail 5-0.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
We're back from a rapidly darkening CSI baseball complex. The sky
Very
beyond
ominous.
the outfield wall overcome with dark clouds. There is sunshine to our right, but unfortunately the clouds, dark clouds, are moving in that direction. So rain could be on the horizon. We certainly hope not. In a perfect world, it would rain between the two games very briefly as that's chopped back to the mound. Leak slips and he loses the play. I think that's going to be an infield hit.
I'll give that an infield hit.
Paulamini.
Hopefully, Leak is okay. He did take a little bit of a tumble, and you see him looking at his cleats. Wondering if that has something to do with the conditions of the infield. But Dolphins will take it, Joe. It's the third hit of the game right there, that infield single.
And it's a start. And the Dolphins in this game now, as you said, Nick, just 3 hits. The Chargers with 9. And if you're CSI, you're willing to take whatever you can to get something started. And what it comes down to for the Dolphins, some timely hits with runners on base. This game not out of reach by any stretch, but they have to get to work. Keep in mind, this game 1 of a doubleheader, just a 7-inning game. As that's down and away in the dirt for ball 1 to A.J. Vigliotti. He's 0 for 1.
If not for a great play in right field, the Dolphins would have a run on the board right now. Vigliotti had that really good into right field, but Smith made an unbelievable catch.
He had to go a pretty long way to make that grab. He did so on the run.
And he's pretty much in the same spot that he was defensively the last time Vigliotti was up to the plate, giving the right field corner a lot of gap.
Count 2-0 on Vigliotti. And he took a home run cut as he swings and misses from strike 1.
Dolphins looking for some kind of spark here. They got the infield signal to start the inning. You know, Vigliotti obviously would love to get something into the gap to bring home the Dolphins' first run of this game.
That might be as big a swing as we've seen by a Dolphin on the air this year. Count now 2-1 on the Dolphins' first baseman. And he takes ball 3. Vigliotti in the driver's seat now, 3-1. I would guess that he probably has the green light here.
I would think so too, considering he swung on 2-0.
Runner going. That's in for a strike. It's safe at second. Here's Paulamini.
So now a single for Vigliotti here would bring home the runner from second. But now with first base open, Chargers can have another opportunity to double play ball with Thomas Martin on deck.
You surprised to see the runner going on 3-1?
I was very surprised. I was going to mention it, but I didn't think he was going to go. And he's going again.
Well, they're paying him no attention. And I'm not sure if Paulamini saw something or if the dugout saw something, but either way, to their credit, he steals third easily.
You'll see. I'll show on the replay, Joe. Look where he was when he was going to steal this base. He was already going before the windup was starting from Leak.
Got to look at it quickly.
You can see right immediately he was already running. He got a great head start into third.
Heck of a jump.
Absolutely. So now the Dolphins will have the corners here. Nobody out. And this has got to be an inning, Joe. The Dolphins need to get a run. They cannot afford to not score here.
I think they need 2.
I think I would tend to agree.
Middle of the order up, first and third, nobody out. I think they need 2 in this inning. Perhaps more. As Martin looks at a strike, and the count is even at 1.
I was going to say, Joe, the Dolphins already have their third hit. Number 33 can't deliver the third hit of the game right here, but they would take a 4th hit if they can get it.
We can't have a 33 for 3 today.
Maybe a second game. Who knows?
Stephanie says perhaps a 3-run shot.
That's very possible. That is very possible. We know Martin has the home run capability, and with the win today, you never know that ball could carry.
If you are able to hit the ball the other way, the wind should help you out in the corner.
Yeah.
But that's easier said than done, as Martin takes ball 3. So all of a sudden, Lee can't find the strike zone. He's walked just 1. The walk to Vigliotti was his first. He struck out 4, allowed the 3 hits, but now he's behind Martin 3-1.
Huge pitch coming here from Leak.
Martin chops one toward the middle. That's through for a base hit. Colomini comes in to score. Vigliotti moves up to second. And the Dolphins are on the board. It's now 5-1.
Well, he couldn't deliver the third hit of the game, Joe, but he did deliver the fourth hit. A huge RBI single from Thomas Martin. And the Dolphins now keep this inning going. Still nobody out. Now a 4-run game.
And Martin didn't try and do too much on that swing. Hit the ball right back where it was pitched. Chopped it up the middle. Had a 3-1 count. Great hitters count with runners on the corners. And he took full advantage as he's on with his first hit of the game. Number 4 for the Dolphins, as you mentioned, and that will prompt a conference at the mound for the Chargers. And what do you think they're discussing here? They have a 4-run lead.
And I think I know what they're discussing. So you have Anthony Sotero coming up to the plate. Do not be surprised if CSI bunts in this situation to move the runners into scoring position at second and third. And Weigel, who we mentioned earlier, has had a slow start to the year, but certainly if he can get second and third base with one out, great opportunity for him to bring home 2 runs.
I was testing your knowledge, Nick. I think there's a good chance Anthony bunts. Good chance he bunts. I'm just kidding.
Oh, are you, though?
No.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I was not testing you.
Okay. I need to test myself when when you bring up those points.
Sotero batting 6th for the Dolphins today. And he is going to show bunt. And he pulls it back as he takes ball 1. So taking a look at the infield for the Chargers, they are not in very far.
Which is very surprising. If Sotero lays down a great bunt here, he could get on first base with a single.
If he lays down a good bunt, I think it's going for a hit. Now, it depends on whether or not they try and go to third with the ball. As that's popped up, out of play. And the count evens at 1. Now, if he were to bunt to third and force the third baseman to come off the bag, that takes that play away. If the bunt doesn't travel very far, they will have a play at third.
If it goes towards the mound, that's the most dangerous one for the Dolphins, because then the force out of third could happen.
Sotero wants to bunt this to third base. He's ahead here 2-1. If it was 2-0, you might give him a swing here. Or perhaps just tell him, take all the way, depending on how you want to play it. Sotero bunts it foul, so
now you're in a dangerous spot with 2-2 because one missed bunt, if you were to attempt that, I don't think they would, but a missed bunt would go foul. It would be strike 3, so Sotero has to go full swinging here now.
I can say with 99.9% certainty he will not be bunting.
I saw it at the Ferry Hawk. Someone did it with 2 strikes. I don't remember. That did happen. So
that's why I left the .1.
Okay. Say.
Not bunting.
That's the right call. But now a full count, and one missed pitch could load the bases for the Dolphins here and bring up the tie. Actually, I should say the tying run.
The question is, did the 2-strike bunt work?
I don't know.
You were there. I wasn't.
It did work. They got the single, yeah.
Okay.
I thought you were actually about this about it.
And that's hit straight to third. Could be 2. And the throw gets away into the Chargers bullpen. Martin is held at third. And Sotero moves up to second. Now, you can't assume a double play. So Sotero reaches on a fielder's choice and will advance on the error. I'll score that one.
So that should go down as an E5 on the throw. And that's a big break for the Dolphins there. Because instead of them having a runner on second and 2 away, now you'll have second and third, still only 1 out. So the scenario that we brought up with Sotero, where if he were to lay down a bunt and give Weigel a second and third opportunity one away, is still that necessary scenario here because Weigel now comes up, second and third, 1 out. Single would bring home 2 runs for the Dolphins here. The wind is definitely starting to pick up a bit here at the baseball complex. So that one's hit it to right. Long run from Smith. He's still chasing this one, and it's just foul. Just by a couple of inches, Joe. Weigel almost had an extra base hit.
Nick, I am truly Jinx Prime. The instant that I mute my microphone, there is a ball crushed.
It happened yesterday, too.
It happened yesterday. Balderas, for CSI softball, nearly homered over the center field wall. Weigel almost homered to right there. And I'm telling you, Nick, if it were not for the wind, and you can see how strong the wind is right now, if it were not for the wind, that is a fair ball, and the Dolphins score 2 runs.
Weigel gave that one a good drive into right. Smith ran a long way Chargers caught a huge break without going foul.
I said it before. The Dolphins need to score twice in this inning, given how they started. And right now, they trail 5-1, have 2 in scoring position. Weigel needs to put this ball in play or get on with a walk. He takes down and away there for ball 2.
The other thing for the Chargers, also bases are now loaded. First base is open for them in case a walk does happen here. Have a hesitation from Weigel there. He kind of swung a little bit too late on that one. So the count evens at 2.
Count even at 2. And Weigel chases out of the zone for strike 3.
Kind of another one where Weigel was behind on that swing. And that's a brutal break now, Joe, because now if Palermo cannot get a base hit here, the Dolphins will not be able to bring home potentially 1 or 2 runs that are on base right now. So Palermo, who did reach last time on an infield single, the Dolphins are hoping he can get a single here and make this a 5-3 game.
And that really stings if you're the Dolphins, as Weigel had ball 3 right there. Chased out of the zone, and now it's left to Palermo in a big spot. A base hit here can make it a 2-run game. If he does not get on, or at the very least, extend the inning, the Dolphins will have to settle for 1. That misses off the outside corner.
It's been a game of inches so far between these two teams. A few inches for Weigel on that fly ball to right field. Could be a different story right now in this upcoming at bat.
Palermo, top 3 on this team in batting so far this year. He's been good. 8 for 24 at the plate, already 7 RBIs. Share of the team lead coming in behind him. Nico Rodriguez hitting .370. He's CSI's leading hitter. So the Dolphins with 2 of their 3 leading hitters in the 8-9 spot. That's it sharply on the ground through the middle for a base hit. 1 run in to score, and 2 runs will score. It's a 2 RBI single for Michael Palermo, and the Dolphins now trail by just 2. Our score is 5-3.
Well, you mentioned that the Dolphins' production at the bottom of their lineup. That's why it's been a good year for CSI's hitting. They can give you good production all through 1 through 9. And Palermo, you mentioned that his numbers have been great these last couple of weeks. A big 2 RBI single right there. The Dolphins now trail by 2 and bring the tying run to the plate.
What a big hit for Michael Palermo and the Dolphins. They needed that one. And Palermo comes through in a big way. As he will run on the pitch, the throw skips into second. And boy, Nick, that was close.
Very, very close.
I thought they got him. I thought the foot was up, but we'll see if the replay provides any clarity.
See, just
It was not a great throw. It arrived on a couple of bounces, but it was on line. And we'll wait until after this next pitch. Let's get a look, see if there's any clarity here.
It was very, very close, I can tell you that.
I thought...
I think he just got in there by a half a step.
I thought the slide definitely beat the throw, but I didn't think his foot was down on the bag. It looked like they got him on the back leg. But either way, a very close play. And good aggressive base running by Palermo puts him in scoring position.
We saw against Holy Family. That's how the Dolphins won that second game against the Tigers. Palermo got a stolen base. Rodriguez drove him home. Dolphins would love that hit right here once again to make it a 1-run game.
It's a big at-bat now. It was already a big at-bat with the tying run at the plate, but now, with the runner in scoring position, it becomes even bigger for Rodriguez. He's behind 1 and 2. And that's lined off the glove of Leak and straight into the glove of the second baseman, Bongiorno. He throws to first in time. And that's a tough break for Rodriguez. He hit that ball hard. Though I think if Leak doesn't touch it, the play might have been made at second base. Either way, the Dolphins will settle for 3 in the 4th, as we'll get one more look at that play ahead of our break. Our score through 4, Dominican 5, Staten Island 3. Fifth inning getting underway from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins now within 2 runs, following a 3 spot in the bottom half of the 4th. And Nick, this inning now becomes a very big one for Ryan Kehoe. He hasn't thrown that many pitches. Definitely has a chance to extend this outing 7 innings if he has a quick 5th. But more importantly, he needs to put up a 0 to keep this deficit right where it is.
I think if he can keep the pitch count low and get through the next 2 without giving up a run, that would be huge for the Dolphins in the late stage of this game, because obviously you're now down 2 runs. Things could have gone differently for the Dolphins in that last inning had that fly ball to right field gone fair. It could be a 1-run game right now. So the difference between 1 and 2 runs right now, I mentioned it yesterday in the softball action, that's a huge difference maker when you get into the later part of the game.
There's a big difference between needing a bloop and a blast and needing more than that. Just needing 1 base runner to bring the tying run to the plate changes everything late in the game. Dolphins obviously would have liked to perhaps get 1 more with a big 2-out hit. We checked out the replay on that last ball hit by Rodriguez. It looks like that would have been an out to second base regardless.
Good thing for the Dolphins. If they can keep this a 5-3 game, Joe, they'll have the top of the order leading off the bottom of the 5th. So they would love to keep this a 2-run contest.
Ty Gilligan at the plate here. He had that long extra base hit his last time up. And with that last foul ball, he's run the count full at 3-2. Just as important as it is to keep this a 2-run game if you're the Dolphins, you don't want to let the leadoff man get on here, because that completely changes the complexion of an inning.
Saw that the last inning, the last couple of innings, I should say, for Dominican.
Especially so after the leadoff man runs the count full. That's hitting the air out to center. And the catch is made by Polamini for the first out.
Nice job by Polamini to track that one down. Obviously, we know the wind is playing a factor in some of these hit fly balls into the outfield. So nice recorded first out of the 5th for the Dolphins.
There is some good news beyond the outfield wall. It looks like the rain might pass us over. Clear skies behind the left center field wall. As that sliced foul.
Now, if it does rain, is that considered a commentator's jinx because you said that?
Could be.
Okay.
Could be. Wouldn't be the first time.
Okay.
At this point, I just leave it.
I've definitely did that. I know a game last year I said that, and it eventually rained afterwards.
A couple of years ago, we had a game where there was a hail warning. We were told to be on the lookout for potential hail. Thankfully, that didn't happen.
We had that at soccer this year. One of the games, there was hail.
I do remember that. That game was never continued.
Nope.
We were up there for quite a while in the press box.
Yeah, we couldn't leave because it didn't seem safe to go outside.
We were probably up there for 2 hours after that game was suspended.
So. Yeah, I think so. Not fun times for that one.
2-1 the count here. That's chopped foul. Davin Cadell-Tucky at the plate is 2 for 2 in this game. Has a couple of RBIs as well. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kehoe comes set. Pitch on its way. That's lined the other way. Diving stop by Rodriguez. He comes up throwing. And that was a great throw, but not in time. Cadell-Tucky is now 3 for 3.
That's a good number to you like, Joe. But heads up play for Rodriguez. Great attempt overall. Just a great job of running down the line from Cadell-Tucky as he's on first base now with a 1-out single.
You can't do any better than 3 for 3 in 3 at-bats. Nobody can argue with that.
No one can definitely argue with that. The Dolphins now, obviously a double play ball away from getting out of the inning, keeping this a 5-3 game, I should say.
At the plate now, Joseph Torres. The Chargers' designated hitter is 1 for 2. He takes down and away. Double-digit hits now for Dominican. 5 runs on 10 hits for the Chargers, 3 runs on 5 hits for the Dolphins. Both teams with a couple of errors. One and one pitch upcoming from Kehoe. That's a wild pitch. As that was spiked in the dirt, runner thinking about first to third, and that would have been ill-advised.
We saw, unfortunately, against Caldwell, the scenario in which a wild pitch led to 2 bases advancing for both runners. In that 8th inning especially, it's allowed 2 runs to score for the Cougars. Dolphins thankful that did not lead to a runner going 2 bases on that one. So now runner at second with 1 away.
2-1 the count now. Kehoe misses low for ball 3, so runner in scoring position for the Chargers. Kehoe is behind 3-1 on Torres. It's tough to be very aggressive as a pitcher in this spot with a big run standing at second base. And once again, that ball was spiked in the dirt. Good block by Michael Kehoe behind the plate. And there are now 2 on with 1 out.
Well, I think the walk there is necessarily not the worst thing for Kehoe because, again, it gives the double play ball an opportunity for the Dolphins. But now you need to try to get this double play because obviously CSI cannot afford in this part of the game to give up more runs.
Rodriguez sneaking in behind the runner over at second. Ahead of that first pitch. Cadell Tuckey not straying too far from the bag as Kehoe misses with ball 1 to Andrew Smith. Smith 0 for 2. And he takes a strike.
How about 2 plays in right field in this game? That's the difference of this game, honestly, Joe. Smith's catching the first inning, robbed the Dolphins of a run. The Dolphins missing that run from Weigel on the RBI. That's big right now. That's the difference of this 2-run contest.
It's been a very eventful game out in right field.
For not only the right fielder, but for the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, the legs on the tripod are detachable.
Yeah.
Not by design, but I was able to snap it back in. We're good to go. That's chopped to first, but foul.
I do see Alex Martinez warming up in the Dolphin bullpen, so CSI hoping that Kehoe can get him out of this inning here and keep it 5-3. We'll have to see maybe if Martinez would come in for the 6th inning.
I said it coming into the inning. Kehoe had done a good job keeping his pitch count down despite allowing 5 runs, and perhaps I jinxed it. As that is in for a called strike 3.
Or did you?
Or did I? Smith goes down looking, and there are now 2 away in the inning. At the plate will be Jake Chasencram.
So Jason Graham delivering a double down the left field line his last time up and eventually score later in the inning. Single here could give his team now a 6-3 lead.
Big out here for Ryan Kehoe and the Dolphins. There's a swing and a miss for strike 1. The runners hold as that pitch was in the dirt. Kehoe with a long look in as he comes set ahead of the 0-1. It's fouled away.
Now 1 strike away, Joe, from getting out of this jam, giving the Dolphins an opportunity at the bottom of the 5th to potentially tie the game.
Chasencram now behind 0-2. Kehoe firmly in the driver's seat here, looking to keep this a 2-run game. Here's the 0-2. You could hear an audible grunt.
He threw extra on that one.
He threw that as hard as he could.
I'm trying to think which MLB pitcher does that a lot. And they have, I think it's Max Scherzer, where they put a microphone on him to hear him how he throws pitches.
There's a good breaking ball.
He was walking to the dugout. He thought that was strike 3. I don't blame him either, Joe. That looked right there on the corner.
Kehoe wasn't aware that wasn't strike 3. He was halfway off the field.
Took his hat off, too.
That won't help him the rest of this at bat. Comes the 2-2. And that's lined back toward the middle. Stopped. And the force is recorded at second. Good play by Cetera. He had to think about where he was going to go with it off that backhand stop. But a nice play gets the Dolphins out of the inning. And now Kehoe looked like he had some words for the home plate umpire on his way off the field. But his teammates
Gotta be
get him
careful
into
with
the
that.
dugout. And the Dolphins keep the deficit at 2. Our score heading to the home 5th. 5-3 Chargers.
Number 32,
Kale Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
And we are back from the College of Staten Island, where the Dolphins trail 5-3 entering the bottom half of the 5th inning. As you said before, Nick, top of the order due up for CSI. Kehoe, Burkhead, Polamini, and they will face Anthony Leak to start here in the 5th.
They have no action going up in their bullpen, so it's so far Leak's inning to go.
His first pitch is sliced foul. Now, I did do some investigating in the parking lot as I went to check on the camera. I did not see any windshield damage.
I brought that up to the viewers as well, so thankfully that was the case.
That foul ball hit the roof of a car, perhaps the hood.
There was a car moving along the way. I don't know if it was that car, or not.
That car's windshield was okay. It turned on the second level. It was fine.
Right, okay.
But that sounded really bad.
Did
I
not
thought for sure it was a windshield.
Yeah.
Comes the 1-1. That pitch is off the outside corner and off the glove of the catcher Gilligan. And now Kehoe is ahead 2-1.
And lost in all that last inning, Joe. Obviously, Kehoe, you mentioned it, talked to the home plate umpire after he recorded the final out. But Anthony Cetera should be given a lot of credit for the play he made. Obviously, only had the play at second base, but if he did not get a glove on that ball, that would have brought home the 6th run for the Chargers.
No doubt the run scores. And Cetera wisely stepping on second. Hesitated for just a moment, but he had time.
Would have been a tough throw to first base from pretty much all the way in center field.
Yep. That's it slowly to short. Might be a tough play. Kehoe can run well, but the throw beats him as that was handled by Nepper. And then the throw around the horn goes into left field.
I didn't see it either, so
Nick,
I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad
that ball was launched into center field, but fortunately nobody on base.
Okay.
That will bring up Brian Burkhead. Burkhead 1 for 2. Chris Polamini behind him 1 for 2. And the first pitch to Burkhead is chopped on the ground to third, off the glove of the third baseman, and the throw is not in time.
Good play at first, though, from...
Yeah.
Because
I don't think that's a routine play. I'm giving that a hit, Nick.
I would give that a hit, but Jason Graham saved an error on the play because if that was not scooped up correctly, that would have gone towards the bullpen for the Chargers and it allowed Burkhead to go to second base.
I'm not sure there was much of a reason to throw there either, especially after the bobble. So Chris Polamini at the plate. He represents the tying run. As we get another look at that last play. Any additional context added by the replay?
Burkhead was clearly in first, so the throw wouldn't have beat him in time.
Yeah,
but
no question.
Jason Graham, I mentioned it. If not for that scoop, that ball goes towards the bullpen of the Chargers and would easily allow Burkhead to be in scoring position. So that's a heads-up play by the first baseman.
Big play to keep that on the infield as that's hit well out to right center. The wind carrying it toward the wall, and that ball is off the base of the fence. Being waved home is Burkhead. Here comes the relay throw to the plate. Up the first base line, not in time. And the Dolphins are within a run. It's 5-4. RBI double for Chris Polamini. And the Dolphins are 80% of the way back, Nick. They trailed 5-0. It's now 5-4.
It's a game of interest, Joe. That tag was very, very close at the plate. We're gonna have to look at both angles for that last tag.
I'll be honest with you, Nick. I thought he was out.
I thought so too, but I saw the tag at the plate, and it was very, very close. I'll get both replays in just a second. I do have them on here.
I think the angle from behind the plate will be better. We'll see. As that gets to the backstop, and a passed ball will move the tying run to third base.
And you can just see Paul. That was almost a home run off the bat. What a shot from Paul. I really thought he had it, too.
I thought he had it, Nick.
The wind definitely carried that ball into right center. And you'll see at the very stage, at the end of this one, he just got under the tag, Burkhead. That's a great. He got under it on the slide. That was a great play from Burkhead to slide under that tag. And now the Dolphins have the tying run on third base for Vigliotti. A sacrifice fly into the outfield will tie this game.
The relay throw was a good one, Nick.
It was a very good one.
It was not great. It was up the first base line a bit, and that was the difference. That fraction of an inch, maybe a foot on the throw. As Vigliotti ahead 2-0 looks at a called strike, but the throw was in the left-hand hitter's batter's box. If that throw had been on the money, I think they had him. Good call by the home plate umpire as Burkhead just got his hand underneath the tag. Now Vigliotti takes low for ball 3, so the Dolphins, with the tying run on third, now have a chance to put the go-ahead run on base with a walk. And Thomas Martin, who singled his last time up and drove in a run, stands in the on-deck circle. Vigliotti takes a strike.
It's a full count, 3-2. Obviously, a walk would force the corners and bring the tying run to first base, but it could give the double play opportunity for the Chargers if Vigliotti were to walk.
Comes to 3-2. And Vigliotti hits one into the right center field gap. That will get the run home. And once again, Smith reaches up to save what may have been an extra base hit. It looked like he misjudged it just a bit, Nick. The wind carrying that ball into the gap, playing tricks on him. But Vigliotti gets the job done, and the Dolphins tie the score on a sacrifice fly.
Vigliotti's going to have some harsh words for Smith after this game, Joe. That's 2 times in this game he has been robbed from Smith in right field. But I don't think he'll mind at this point in the game because he's now tied the score at 5 apiece. A great comeback being forced by the Dolphins.
Dolphins score 3 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, and they are even. We are knotted up at 5 as we'll get another look at that play by Smith out in right field. He did a great job to recover after it looked like he broke in just a bit too much, but he was able to reach up and prevent that ball from going over his head. Two away in the inning. Martin behind 0-1 here. And he takes outside.
Mentioned Martin with a single his last time up. Dolphins would love to extend the inning here if Martin can get on base.
Comes the 1-1. That's in the dirt for ball 2.
So I mentioned earlier in the inning there was no action going up for the Chargers. Now they have double action going up in their bullpen. So we'll see if this will be Leake's last inning of work here.
Comes the 2-1. That's hit in the air on the infield. Should be an easy play. And the catch is made by Bongiorno at second base to retire the side. But not before the Dolphins score 2 more, and they are now even through 5. We are even at 5 here at the CSI Baseball Complex.
Your college sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us and for college sports.
We're back from the CSI Baseball Complex. The score is now tied at 5, and Nick, Ryan Kehoe back out to the mound for the Dolphins here in the 6th. We'll look to keep this game even and give CSI a chance to take the lead in the home half of the inning.
He's not the only one that's back, Joe. The sun's starting to creep in a little bit, too, as well in the infield. So
we avoided the rain.
It looks like we avoided it. I
Great
hope.
to see.
I hope.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. But you talked about the resiliency of this Dolphins team earlier in the game. Obviously down 5. What a comeback they've ensured now here, tying this at 5 apiece going into the 6th inning, and now they have a chance to win it.
That pitch misses outside.
If you can keep the bullpen from coming into the game here in the 6th, if Kehoe can get them one more inning of work, that would be huge for the Dolphins.
Outside of that game against Caldwell, Dolphin bullpen this year has been very good.
Yes.
So the Dolphins, if they are able to take the lead, should be able to place that lead in good hands. That being said, they used a lot of bullpen in the games on Wednesday. The question is, how many of their top bullpen arms did they use in those games? Right now, you really don't know who those are early in the season. The returners like Alex Martinez, certainly near the top of the pecking order. But we'll see if any other arms new to this roster or perhaps some other returners like Ryan Fiore begin to emerge. As that's in for a called strike 3 to Gene Nunez. And Kehoe has the first out via strikeout.
Nunez was fooled on that off-speed pitch, Joe. A beautiful pitch from Kehoe right there to record the first out of the inning.
One away in the road 6th. And Ryan Bongiorno will be the batter. Bongiorno 1 for 2. He looks at a called strike. And going back to the previous inning, Nick, you said it at the time. That play by Anthony Sotera on the infield, a huge one for the Dolphins. We've seen by both teams huge defensive plays that have taken runs off the board. We could very easily have 12, 13, 14 runs up there so far.
Yeah.
Comes the 0-2. That misses outside.
The defensive plays from the fielders as well as the wind have both played a factor into this game of where we're currently at 5-5.
That's chopped on the ground to short. Chance for Rodriguez. And his throw is in time as Vigliotti kept his foot on the bag.
How many times have I said wow today, Joe? There's just so many good plays we've seen today.
What a play by the Dolphins infield. First, Rodriguez had that ball take a really bad hop at the end. The ball initially was headed right for him, but then at the last second broke away from him. He recovered, made a strong throw, and Vigliotti somehow kept his foot on first base. Now, to be fair, the Chargers didn't think so. Also, the play was very close. Was the throw in time?
I don't know if his foot was on the bag, though. That's the problem.
Did the throw beat the runner?
We'll look again on the replay, but... And the call stands. So let's see where the throw is. I'll pause it where the throw is going to be.
I didn't think the throw beat him, Nick.
I don't think the throw beat him either.
I didn't think it beat him.
Not only do I don't think it beat him, but I think his foot wasn't on the bag at the time of it happening.
Dolphins get the benefit of that call.
Could be completely wrong, but I don't know.
I've already been wrong once today on the play at the plate. That's in the dirt. As we always say, we have the benefit of replay up here in the booth. At basketball, they use that replay from time to time.
Yes.
I think we had as many replay reviews this year as we've had in the previous
lot.
2 combined. Easily.
We had a very good amount. The amount of times I had to say plays under review on a public address was a good amount.
I think one game we had 4.
But I think I would rather have that because I would rather them make sure the call is right instead of just making the judgment call.
Always. The most important thing is get the call right, in my opinion. As that's bounced to Rodriguez, and David Knepper is retired for the final out in the top half of the 6th. Dolphins come to the plate in the home half of inning number 6. They have a chance to take the lead with the score tied at 5.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex, where the Dolphins will have a chance to take the lead with just one run here in the home sixth inning. Dolphins trailed 5-0 earlier. That deficit has been erased, and now CSI will send Anthony Cetera, Vincent Weigel, and Michael Palermo to the plate with a chance to go in front.
And how about Ryan Keough in that last inning, Joe? 1, 2, 3, top of the sixth. So it's been a very up and down game for him, but he got the big 3 outs that he needed the most. Most likely will end his day and give the game over to the Dolphin bullpen. But now let's see if they can take the lead going into that top of the seventh to try to get this win.
Anthony Cetera 0 for 2 at the plate. And he lines one to right field for a base hit. And the Dolphins have the leadoff man on here in the sixth.
And a good leadoff hit runner on as well. It's Cetera. He could bring some speed on the base path. So first pitch swinging. The Dolphins now have the go-ahead run on first base.
Nick, will Vincent Weigel be asked to bunt here?
I could very well see that, considering the next 2 batters up for the Dolphins.
As we mentioned before, in the 8 and 9 spots, Palermo and Rodriguez, 2 of CSI's 3 leading hitters. Weigel has been struggling at the plate. He is asked to bunt, and that's bunted foul.
Second look at that last base hit from Cetera over the first base glove. Chasing Graham, and now see if Weigel can bring him to second on a potential bunt attempt here. Down the count early 0-1.
There is action in the Chargers bullpen.
Watch out.
Watch out. Holy moly. I was looking away, and all of a sudden there was a foul ball in my face.
Well, not only that, but watch out for Weigel as well. That was very close to hitting him in the head.
Well, that was flinch supreme right there. I don't think I've flinched like that in all of my years combined. I thought that was coming in. I was looking to the left.
Joe, I'll tell you right now, we had a pretty good look of it on the replay. Where the ball is.
Let's get a look.
Watch this ball. Pretty close. It was not too far away from where the camera is.
Thankfully, it hit the window in front of me and not the window to my left. That's where the camera was. But
that might have been the most weirdest bunt attempt I've seen, because it almost hit Weigel, as I mentioned. He had to duck out of the way. He still made contact with the ball with his bat, and it somehow almost came into the room that we're currently positioned at.
They almost had to call the FCC on me, Nick. That was way too close.
Too close for comfort.
Especially for a ball I wasn't looking at.
Yeah, I wasn't looking either, because I was looked down for a split second.
Yeah, I looked up, and there was a foul ball 5 feet in front of me. Thankfully, it did not come in the window.
We've had too many foul balls hit towards this press box. We can't afford another one.
We're going to have to close the window just a bit. And we're not waiting.
You can hear the screech of the window as Weigel takes that one for a strike 3, and there's one away in the inning.
Big strikeout for Anthony Leak. That will bring up Michael Palermo. Palermo's 2 for 2 in this game.
And we know he can hit the ball the opposite way as well. Dolphins would certainly love an infield single if he could also get that.
Runner going.
Almost going.
He thought about it. He was about a third of the way to second base. Thought better of it, and fortunately so, because Palermo swung and missed at a high fastball. That was a great pitch to throw on. So either a great read by Cetera or a fortunate break for the Dolphins.
And we've seen in this game a couple of times, Joe, the Dolphins have done a couple of hit-and-run opportunities. Hasn't worked yet for them. See if they do it again here on 0-1.
0-1 the count. That's blocked nicely behind the plate by Gilligan. And a wild pitch, passed ball, stolen base. As good as that sacrifice bunt. Assuming, of course, the out on the bunt attempt. Count now even at 1 ball and 1 strike on the CSI right fielder.
League now at, I think, over 100 pitches after that last one.
That's chopped to third, could be 2. Throw to second for 1. On to first in time. 5-4-3 on the double play. And that will do it for the Dolphins in the 6th inning. Dolphins get a leadoff hit from Anthony Cetera and nothing more, as Anthony Leak is now through 6. He's allowed 5. Ryan Kehoe has also allowed 5. Will the CSI starter return for one more inning?
When all eyes are on the court, we're focused on what matters most, preparing college athletes for a lifetime of opportunity. After the buzzer, off the court, it's about education and working to earn a degree. Creating healthier campuses through groundbreaking research and policies. And a fair shot so dreams can stay on track. United as an association, we've got work to do. We're building a pathway to lifelong opportunity.
Now pitching for your Dolphins, number 34, Alex Martinez.
And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex, where the Dolphins have gone to the bullpen. Alex Martinez, the new pitcher for CSI. And we'll get you his numbers in just a moment, as Martinez has been a big part of what has been pretty effective Dolphins bullpen. As for Martinez, he comes in having pitched 5 2/3. He's allowed 8 hits, 4 runs, all of those earned. He's walked 3 and struck out 5, pitching to a 6.35 earned run average.
Martinez, obviously, he has not pitched, Joe, since that game against Caldwell. So it has been over a week since his last inning of relief out of the bullpen. And he obviously would like to forget that inning of relief against the Cougars. As some of our viewers know, he gave up the home run in the 9th inning to give Caldwell the win.
He has a chance to make that outing a distant memory with a good showing here today. His team tied at 5 against Dominican University as that's popped up. Shallow center. Making the catch on the run is Polamini for the first out.
And losing his hat on the way.
Flow will do that to you.
But also for Martinez, even though that outing wasn't good, the one against Holy Family he should also be very commemorated for. Because in that scenario for the Dolphins, that's where they had bases loaded, 1 out. Martinez was able to get a strikeout to get the second out of the inning and then get a ground ball out to retire the side and keep the game scoreless at that point for the Dolphins at the top of the 7th. They would eventually walk it off in the bottom half of that inning. So Martinez has had himself a good season, obviously trying to make up for that last outing, but he's up to a good start here in the 7th.
Got a very quick first out, retiring Tyler Richmond. Now Ty Gilligan at the plate is ahead 2-0.
See action up in the Dolphin bullpen. I think that's Antonio Gautreaux. That's up in the bullpen. As that one hit down the right field line. Cetera giving that one a chase and almost going over his head, but does make the catch to retire in the second out of the inning.
He made that catch very nonchalantly, Nick, and that would have been a fair ball.
It would have.
That will bring up Davin Cadell-Tuckey. He's 3 for 3. Fortunately for the Dolphins here, he will bat with the bases empty and 2 out.
Trying to make sure he doesn't go 4 for 4.
First pitch on its way. That's popped up. Hit a bit deeper out to center field.
And you can hear Martinez, Joe. He was very happy.
They were under everything he threw. Great inning of relief for Alex Martinez. And the Dolphins will have a chance to win it. Nick, we haven't mentioned it yet. We're going to now.
Oh, no. Don't do it.
We are going to now.
Oh, no.
A win for the Dolphins today would be number 300 for Mike Morrow. Can the Dolphins make it a special one with a walk-off when we come back?
Okay, go ahead.
On and off the court, we're focused on creating lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. More college athletes are earning degrees than ever before, but we've still got work to do. That's why we're raising the bar for incoming freshmen, so they're prepared when they get to campus. And why teams can't play in championships unless they make the grade. Education matters, and putting academics first creates a pathway to a lifetime of opportunity.
And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex where the Dolphins and the Chargers are tied at 5. Returning to the mound for the 7th inning, Anthony Leak. He will look to go 7, perhaps further. If he's able to keep this game tied, the Dolphins just need 1 run to win it. They will send 9-1-2 to the plate.
The question I was going to pose at the end of the inning was, what was the Dolphins' order coming into the inning? Because the reason I bring that up, I mentioned Alex Martinez against Holy Family, in which they got the Dolphins out of the 7th inning, kept it tied going into the bottom of the 7th, and they walked it off. In that spot in the 7th, they had 8-9-1. They had Palermo, Rodriguez, and Kehoe coming up to the plate. In this spot, it's 9-1-2, so Rodriguez will lead it off. So time was almost linear for this Dolphins team if they were potentially walk it off here.
That's it high in the air, shallow right center. Another hat is lost on the outfield grass, but the catch is made by Cadell-Tuckey for a quick first out.
Well, if you're Leak, that's a good way to get out of this inning so far. 1 pitch, 1 out here at the bottom of the 7th. And now back to the top of the order for CSI.
Michael Kehoe will be the batter. He's 0 for 3. Rodriguez leading off the inning with that out, now 0 for 3 as well. Burkhead in the on-deck circle, 2 for 3, followed by Polamini in the hole. He's also 2 for 3. If Kehoe can get on here, that sets the table nicely for the Dolphins, despite the 1 out up on the board. And Kehoe's quickly behind 0-1. We have a Leak at about 105 pitches. As that swung on and missed for strike 2.
Well, Kehoe just was a little bit behind on that one. Nice fastball from Leak, and he's quickly up in the count 0-2.
Comes the 0-2 pitch. That's hit softly to short. Kehoe once again running hard down the line, and another scoop over at first by Chasenkram. Records the out before he kept one on the infield, and this time he prevents what would have been an error on the throw, as we did lose our outfield camera. Just looks like a dead battery. We'll have to invest in bigger batteries, it appears. And that's ripped into the glove of Chasenkram. And that will do it for the Dolphins in the 7th. Nick, free baseball.
Yeah, free baseball.
As the Dolphins go down 1-2-3. Extra innings from the CSI Baseball Complex coming up next.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
Top of the 8th inning here at the CSI Baseball Complex. Extra baseball here for between the Dolphins and the Chargers as we are tied at 5 apiece. Another inning of relief for Alex Martinez. My broadcast partner Joe Foreman is going out to right field to go fix the battery issues with our camera. I'm not sure if he's made it out to right field yet. I actually just saw him, so not just yet. So for now, we are once again using our behind the home plate camera. This first pitch from Martinez is in there for a strike, 0-1. Joseph Torres, the leadoff batter here for Dominican in the top of the 8th. That one in the dirt for a ball, 1-1. As Joe mentioned, obviously, if the Dolphins can walk it off here, it would be certainly a memorable walk-off. I won't try to bring the commentators' jinx out myself, so I will keep that. I'll keep it short and sweet when it comes to that statement. The 1-1 hit into center, but shallow. Polomini gives track, makes the play, and records the first out of the inning. So Martinez has come out of the bullpen and has retired the first 4 batters he's seen. So that brings up Andrew Smith now, the right fielder. Talked about how Smith has made an impact in this game defensively for his team. Shot A.J. Vigliotti on numerous hits. Just takes that one low for a ball, 1-0. (1-0) from Martinez. That one on the outside for a ball, 2-0. On deck for the Chargers is Jake Chasengram. 2-0. That one chopped to second. Took a hop on Cetera, but he throws it on to first in time for the second out of the inning. Jake Chasengram will come up with 2 away in the inning. Joe is currently on his way back to the press box, so we have our right field camera once up again. 2 away in the inning. Martinez looking for another 1-2-3 inning here. Try to get the Dolphins a chance to walk it off in the bottom of the 8th. First pitch of Chasengram on the outside for a ball, 1-0. The 1-0. That one in there for a strike, 1-1. That one ripped into left center field. That one's going to drop down for a base hit and go behind Polomini. Burkhead will cut it off. He'll throw it into short as Rodriguez will keep the runner at second. Jake Chasengram is on once again with the double, and he now brings the go-ahead run on second base for him, and now an opportunity for the Chargers here to take the lead. Gene Nunez comes up with an RBI spot with 2 outs in the 8th. Jason Graham now 2 for 4. So that one misses on the outside for a ball, 1-0. A single here for Nunez could bring home Jason Graham and give the Chargers a late lead. The 1-0. Misses on the outside for a ball, 2-0. Ryan Bongiorno on deck for the Chargers. First base is open for the Dolphins. 2-0 for Martinez. That one misses inside for ball 3. Quickly, Martinez down the count 3-0. In danger of walking Nunez right here. 3-0 for Martinez. And that one misses for ball 4. So not the worst thing for the Dolphins here, Joe, as now it's going to be first and second, 2 away. Now the force could be at any base, but it looks like the Dolphins will make a pitching change. It's going to be Antonio Gautreau coming in for Alex Martinez.
Nick, I'm getting my steps in today.
You certainly are.
Bit out of breath. We'll step aside and take a quick break as the Dolphins make a pitching change. We'll be right back. 2 on, 2 outs for the Chargers. Road 8th inning. We're tied at 5.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves. Our vision, our heart, our drive to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex as Antonio Gautreau has taken the mound for the College of Staten Island. He inherits 2 base runners on first and second, 2 away in the road 8th inning. If the Dolphins can keep this game tied, they'll have a chance to walk it off with just 1 run in the home half of the inning. Over at second base, Jason Graham on first, Nunez, and at the plate for Dominican will be Ryan Bongiorno. Bongiorno, 1 for 3, has driven in a run, has also struck out, and he will come to the plate here looking to send it back to the top of the order.
Joe, we just cannot seem to have luck with that right field camera right now.
Don't know what to do about that at this point. I went out there, the battery was out, we replaced it, and once again the camera's off. So what we'll have to do is scout some locations for a power supply. I don't think there is one. I don't think there's one anywhere close.
I don't think so either.
So we'll have to bring back our pitcher-batter camera for the next game. Though, with each passing game, for me personally, it's becoming more and more convenient and perhaps even better looking to put the camera back behind the plate where it was last year. Doesn't sway, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll go out there with a fresh battery ahead of Game 2 as that's chopped on the infield. Nobody's covering first, and everyone is safe.
That was a slow dribbler towards first base, and now base is loaded, Joe. Force could be at any base for the Dolphins. They get the out right here, but they need this out.
Infield hit for Bongiorno. And now David Nepper, who is 1 for 4, will have a chance here to give the Chargers the lead. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The bases were empty with 2 outs, and now Gautreau pitching under a bit more pressure as he misses high for ball 1.
But we've seen Gautreaux pitch in high-pressure situations for the Dolphins so far on the young season, and he's been able to get out of them. Can he do it once again here with 2 away and the bases loaded for Dominican?
There's a strike. Nepper 1 for 4 with a run batted in, has struck out. He has a count even at 1-1. Long look in from Gautreaux. He comes set. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That misses low.
And obviously with no base open, cannot afford to walk in the batter here. Gautreaux really could use a ground ball or potentially get a strikeout in this at-bat.
Comes to 2-1. That's fouled away.
And now 1 strike away from getting that strikeout. So 2-2 count with 2 away in the inning, Joe. Gautreaux 1 strike away, keeping this game tied, giving the Dolphins a chance to walk it off.
This is the pitch you'd like to get him with. You don't want to pitch with a full count.
Question will be, will he make him chase on something on 2-2?
Gautreaux is shaking off his catcher a couple of times as the batter asks for time.
High pressure spot for both of these teams. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, they're both on a losing streak. They want to get a win and end their skid. So for both, they really need to make sure that something can give in this at bat.
Count 2-2. 2 outs, bases loaded, top of the 8th. Once again, a long look in from Gautreaux. He comes set. The 2-2 on its way. And that's in the dirt. That pitch was not close. Great block by Kehoe.
And I mentioned it. What did Gautreaux try to make him chase on something? Try to make him chase in the dirt. Good job to hold up. And now, full count 3-2. The runners will go on this next pitch.
Count is full. The bases are loaded. There are 2 outs. Gautreaux delivers, and that is fouled straight back. Nick, it doesn't get any more high pressure than this if you're a reliever. Tie game, bases loaded, 3-2 count, 2 outs, nowhere to put the batter. He tried to make Nepper chase on 2-2 and has put himself in a really tough spot.
We saw this against Holy Family, Joe. The Dolphins got out of it. Can they get out of it once again here?
Here's Gautreaux's pitch. And that's lined the other way over the glove of Satara and into right field for a base hit. It's misplayed in right field by Palermo. 3 runs will score. Headed for third is Nepper. He is in standing. And it's a 2 RBI base hit for David Nepper. A 3rd run comes home on the error. And the Dolphins now trail 8-5.
Brutal break for CSI right there. Nepper with a huge base hit, clearing the bases for the Chargers, and now giving them an 8-5 lead here in the top of the 8th. You see on the replay there, Nepper gets it into right field, and Palermo was in this situation where he was trying to field the ball cleanly and try to make the throw to home to try to preserve one of those runs from coming in. But unfortunately, the ball went past him and allowed Nepper to get into third base and allow all 3 runners to score, giving the Chargers now this 3-run lead. That one fouled behind the plate now, 0-2.
Well, running on the pitch, Nick, it's certain that 2 runs are coming home on that base hit. So the first 2 runs are earned. The 3rd run right now unearned. And standing at third is Nepper. He should be over at first. And you could understand why Palermo wanted to come up throwing as that gets past Kehoe on the wild pitch. And into scores Nepper. It's now 9-5.
Unfortunately for the Dolphins, Joe, now this inning has gone away for them. They were 1 strike away from getting out of it and keeping it tied. They're now trailing by 4 here in the 8th, and they'll now have to get 4 potentially in the bottom of the 8th to try at least keep this game tied.
The Dolphins do go on to lose this game. This is going to be a crusher for this team.
Oh, no.
That looked rather uncomfortable for the home plate umpire.
Trying to walk it off.
Yeah, those hurt. It's been a long time since I experienced one of those, but that ball took a bad bounce.
I think the viewers at home know where that bounce went.
I don't think they needed you to clarify.
Let's just say I had an experience at softball when we played the faculty staff game where I know his pain right now.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So with that, a break in the action.
Gow now even at 2-2 after that last pitch with 2 away.
Action set to resume with a 2-2 from Gautreaux. And that's hit in the air. Foul. Two and two the count as Gautreaux comes set. And that's chopped to third. Fielded there cleanly by Weigel. His throw in time. And the side is retired. But not before the Chargers score 4 times. They led by 5 earlier. They now lead by 4. The Dolphins down to their final 3 outs.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
Bottom of the 8th inning here at the CSI baseball complex. It's been a long week here for us at CSI Sportsnet, but nonetheless, bottom of the 8th is now a 9-5 lead for the Chargers. And Robert Liriano now the new pitcher for Dominican as they try to close this one out and take game 1 of the doubleheader. Dolphins will have Chris Polomini leading it off here. They'll have 3, 4, and 5. As Polomini hits this one down the right field line foul, 0-1. Polomini on the day, 2 for 3 for the Dolphins. So them down as many as 5 earlier. They'll have to score 4 times in the inning to keep the game extended. That one hit into right field. Smith on the run. Tracks that one down and records the first out of the 8th. Dolphins now down to their final 2 outs of the inning.
Now batting the first baseman, number 22.
For Liriano on the season, this will be his 5th appearance. He's 0-1. He's pitched 5 innings of work, 7 hits, 4 runs, all earned, and a 7.20 ERA. As he now tries to get the final 2 outs of this one. A.J. Vigliotti coming up for the Dolphins. Takes that first pitch for a strike, 0-1. Vigliotti officially 0 for 1 of the day. Dolphins really could use a base runner here. They want to have a chance to get back into this one. The 0-1 from Liriano. Take it on the outside for a strike. And Vigliotti quickly behind the count, 0-2. From Liriano. Now it misses low for a ball 1-2. So now 1-2 count to the Dolphin first baseman here. The 1-2. That one hit towards left field, in for a base hit. A.J. Vigliotti is on for a one-out single. That'll be the Dolphins' 9th hit of the game as they try to keep this inning extended, Joe, and try to get back down 4.
All right, Nick, had to attend to some scoring from the last inning, but we're back. Dolphins have some work to do to give themselves an opportunity with the tying run at the plate. They'll need a couple more base runners as they are going to pinch run over at first base. Christopher Riley will come in and run for A.J. Vigliotti. So Vigliotti's day is done as he will head back to the dugout.
Coming in the pitch run for the Dolphins, number 25, Christopher Riley.
I only laughed because of the echo.
That is a serious echo. Didn't mention as well, there is a new pitcher in the game.
I did. Robert Liriano is the new pitcher for the Chargers.
I didn't input it in the stats. Stephanie's taking care of that now.
Okay.
You inserted that ahead of the first at bat, Steph? Okay, so we'll have to do that. We're going to have to delete that and do it over.
Could be a
this man in the ball game, and it will. 6-4-3 on the double play. And the Dolphins see a 5-run comeback, fall short in extra innings, as Dominican University takes game 1 of today's non-conference doubleheader by a final score of 9-5. Final line for the Chargers, 9 runs, 12 hits, 2 errors. For the Dolphins, 5 runs on 9 hits, 3 errors. And Nick, this one stings if you're the Dolphins. They came from 5 runs down, tied the score, had a chance to get out of the 8th inning unscathed completely. There were empty bases, nobody out, or 2 outs, I should say, and then the game just got away from them with 2 outs in the inning. The error hurt, but the Dolphins will fall short in this one and will look to bounce back in Game 2 coming up next.
And we talked about the Dolphins' bullpen. It has been good for them this season, but unfortunately in this scenario, they just couldn't get the final out that they needed and the final strike that they needed in that top of the 8th inning. They dropped this one 9-5. Then they'll head into Game 2, looking to bounce back from this Game 1 loss. But as you mentioned, Joe, certainly a game in which the Dolphins had a lot of momentum going after they tied it at 5 apiece, but one that certainly will sting now going into the second game of the doubleheader.
No question it stings just a bit, but that's the great thing about baseball, Nick. You can have a very short memory when you get right back out there and pick up a win, albeit sometimes the next day. Today, the Dolphins have a chance to pick up that win in Game 2 of a doubleheader. Game 2 between the Dolphins and the Chargers set to begin approximately 30 minutes from now at about 2:45. Nick and I will come on just a bit early with another McDonald's pregame show ahead of Game 2. We'll recap Game 1, preview our second game, and more ahead of first pitch between the Dolphins and the Chargers. Keep in mind, our second game will be streamed on a separate stream, so head over to CSIDolphins.com/CSI Sportsnet for the stream of Game 2. It will be right at the top of our landing page. We'll see you shortly. 2:45 first pitch for the Dolphins and Chargers, Game 2.